Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Courtney King, and today's short talk is going to be about the pros of working for a European tech company over an American tech company. I've worked for both numerous times, and there are pros and cons to both, and so I thought this would be a good 4-part series in case you're trying to figure out if it makes sense to try and work for one or the other. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we're talking about the pros of working for a European tech company. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about was taking time off and generally work-life balance. Now, this is a more nuanced topic than a lot of people think. A lot of people are going to be saying to themselves, well, American companies have terrible work-life balance and European companies have amazing work-life balance. And it's not that clear-cut. Number one, obviously, Europe's a big place. It's full of many different countries. You're going to have different cultures and things going on in different places that affect your ideas of work-life balance. But also, every company's different. And when companies are in different stages of growth and development, their attitudes towards work-life balance change. So what I will say is that European companies are really good about holidays. You'll notice if you work with European coworkers or clients or anything like that, it seems like they have way more federal holidays than we do, and they do. They're really, really good about holidays, paying paid holidays and all of that stuff. And also, they're really good about being off work when they're off, being unable to be reached, essentially. There's a lot of folks at American tech companies who are off for the day, but they're still checking Slack. They're still returning emails. I'm actually guilty of this. I've done this myself before as well. And you just see less of that, I feel like, when you're working for a European company. When people say they're off, they're off. And sometimes, like I worked for a German company, and the entire executive team was gone for Christmas holidays, maybe like 5-6 week vacation, all of December and then part of January. And they were completely offline. We could not reach them. We had to just survive without them. And honestly, it was totally fine. We survived totally fine without them. And so that was really actually kind of inspiring to watch. Not every company is like that, but yeah, I feel like holidays and especially Christmas, my European coworkers took a lot of time off, and companies really honored that. The next thing I want to talk about is how working for a European tech company can actually help with your networking and your career growth. What I mean is that when you only work for American tech companies, which is fine, obviously, you mostly make American connections, whether that's in real life, whether that's in LinkedIn. Once you start working with a European company, you obviously start meeting all sorts of professionals in Europe and connecting with them on LinkedIn, meeting them in real life, et cetera, et cetera. And it just broadens your ability to be able to network. It broadens the pool from which you can pull connections and use your connections to leverage your job growth. And it can open you up to more opportunities for jobs in the future that are in Europe. So I worked for a European startup. The job kind of fell in my lap. I wasn't looking to work for a European startup, but that's just how it happened. And I had a great time. And as soon as I started to make connections with folks that were in Europe, I started getting scouted for other opportunities, like other European companies that wanted to hire Americans. There's a specific reason for this. Sometimes the European tech company is trying to break into North America. So they specifically want to hire an experienced person or people for roles in North America. And so you work remotely from North America, but you work for a European company. It's pretty common. It can be hard to find those opportunities until you've worked for one. Once you've worked for one, you'll get like recruiters and headhunters reaching out to you specifically for roles like that. And they'll be like, oh, it's so great that you already have experience working with a European company. That gets you a foot in the door. It's really weird. So that is definitely a pro that you wouldn't get if you just continued working for American companies. So the next pro on this list would be the cross-cultural experiences and collaboration. Now, this is not to say that you can't get that working at an American tech company because, many companies have global teams. However, when you're working with a company and you're sort of one of the only North Americans and the rest of your team is from other countries, it's really cool if you like that kind of thing. I studied international business in college, and so that sort of thing just gets me going. I like talking to people and learning about people, working with people, collaborating with people from other countries, other cultures, learning about different languages and things like that. For me, that was a huge pro. It just felt like it made the job sort of a richer cultural experience. I wouldn't describe most jobs as a cultural experience at all, but they can be if you work for the right company. The next pro of working for a European company, and this one is pretty big, is that you might possibly get to travel to Europe for free, obviously, on the company's dime, either to meet with customers you may have there or when the company does get-togethers in person. This has personally happened to me a couple times, and I've gotten to go to Paris and London for free a couple times. That was really awesome. I would have had the opportunity to go to Berlin, but I worked for this particular company during COVID when all travel was shut down, so I actually didn't get to spend the 2 weeks in Berlin that I would have. For me, this is a huge perk. If you love to travel, there is nothing better than free travel, obviously. And there's nothing better than having your job pay for your travel. It is so cool and so much fun. Things are so much more enjoyable and your expectations are so much lower when the travel is free. It blows your mind. When you're not paying for anything, you have such a better time. Versus if you were footing the bill for everything, you'd be pickier. You'd be like, that flight wasn't that good. This hotel isn't that nice. But when someone else is footing the dime, it's so good. So yeah, that's a huge pro. Okay, guys, before we get to the last item, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified of new content. I post new high-quality content here every single week. It costs you guys nothing, and it would really help me out, especially with the algorithm. So I would appreciate it. So the last thing I want to talk about, and this was basically the biggest pro for me, was generally seeing how other cultures act and react in a professional environment. So your culture's going to have a lot to do with the way that you think of office culture and corporate culture and working systems, processes, time management, efficiency. And for me, it's just interesting to see how other cultures do things. Now, on some levels, things aren't that different, right? There's many levels on which North America and Europe are way more similar than they are different. But there are actually lots of differences in the way people from different countries think about time management, think about efficiency. Some people don't think about it at all. Some people think about it a lot. How long does it take you to bring an idea to fruition and actually execute on it? Many people from many different places just have different thoughts and beliefs about that. So that's very interesting to me because number one, like I said, I just enjoy that sort of cross-cultural experience, but also it gives me the opportunity to learn something that I may not have learned just working for a North American company. You work in one place all the time and you get used to corporate culture and professional culture just being one way, and you just assume that's how everybody does things. And that is not true. It's absolutely not true. And so getting to learn those differences, again, just makes for a richer cultural experience. And there are going to be some things that you think are good ideas that you want to take back with you the next time you go back to an American company and see if maybe they can be implemented there. That one is a really big pro for me because it can help make you more efficient and give you good ideas for you to use in the future. Okay, guys, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. I'm going to be doing 4 of these. If you have comments on whether or not you've worked for a European company or an American company, please leave me a comment. I would love to know your experience. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next one.